Hey guys, welcome back to the video. So here we are back with this JS300, and now we need to clean it up and remove all these parts from here and inside and try to clean it up and start getting this hole prepared for the engine. Also, I need to swap out the impeller. I need to do some boring on the pump, just basically get it all set up, cleaned up, and hopefully we can start dropping the engine soon and hearing this thing run. So I want to put all these parts on the rack right here I have set up, and yeah, so let's get to it. I got all my parts laid out, and the bottom rack right here also, it's fairly clean inside. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it could definitely use some cleaning. These are my bilge wires for my bilge pump. So how my spark plug is held on. You get a boot for that. This is some old style mat for sure. It's pretty darn hard. It's got a ride plate and it's loose on here. And it's got fins on there, so that's pretty cool. I'm sure this is worth a little penny. Fire extinguisher. I need one of those covers or caps. And yeah, other than that, need to clean it up all the way and get it ready to rip. So guys, I got the ski on the side. It looks pretty good. The hole looks pretty good on the bottom side. Definitely could use some shining up and smoothing it out a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty good. So what we got here as a ride plate and the intake grate. So says Rend Engineering, and this one I'm not sure. It's got the D cut, and it's also got the fins, and I'm not sure what this is. There's really no name yet. I can't see. Maybe it's on the inside, but let's go ahead and try to take it off and see what it is. It almost kind of seems like these fins are homemade. So I'm not sure if anybody knows anything about these things. Let me know in the comments below. But let's go ahead and drop this thing out and see what we got for the pump. So guys, I got the whole grate and the ride plate off. And as you can tell, on this ride plate, it says Rend right here. And it says JS right there. And Rend right here. So, I guess we had a whole kit from the Rend company on here. But I'm still not sure if the Rend did come with the fins or not, but it would be nice to know if somebody could chime in. But other than that, everything worked pretty good. For some reason, I couldn't get the 10 millimeter socket in here. The pocket is way too small, so I'm gonna have to bore those out a little bit. Well, actually, it was made for a countersunk screw, as you can tell right there. So that's why it was bolted up improperly. So that would cause that to happen. But again, it pulled out one of the inserts, and some of these inserts are kind of sticking out. So I'm gonna have to go in there, probably readjust them and put new inserts in there and push these in deeper. And yeah, other than that, everything is pretty good. So let's go ahead and I need to take this pump off. I want to bore this nozzle right here so that way I can get a little better bottom end. And yeah, we should go from there and see what happens. It's got a bunch of silicone and stuff on here, so it's gonna be a tight one. But let's slightly start prying it away. There it goes on that side. Let's see if I can. Completely out. Yep. So let's take this pump out. One shim on the bottom, one shim on top, and can't see any shims there, so it's got all this silicone on here. It's gonna be fun. Looks pretty good, I'd say, inside here. Not really bad marks or anything. Got the stock dinky impeller that is gonna be swapped out for a 1316 Scat Track. I think that's the brand I went with. So hopefully we'll get some low end power. So guys, to get my impeller off, this is a 32 millimeter size bolt basically at the end of this impeller. So I had me a socket that's a 32 millimeter, and I went ahead and extended it because it didn't work. So I cut it off and then I extended it and welded it, TIG welded it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my impact drill and try to take it off. But first, I need to find something to go in this hole and hold it, and then use my handy dandy impactor and try to get this thing off. So let's go find something to go in that hole. That's not working. It's actually just stripping it. That's not good at all. Well guys, the extended socket did not work. Maybe if it was a 6-point socket it'd be better, but it's not. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I tried to beat the thing with a 2-pound sledgehammer. Did not work. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my grinding wheel, and I'm gonna try to cut this thing, try to cut that thing off and see how that works. So guys, as you can tell, I went ahead and split this thing in half. So I did, hold on, let me take this thing I used for trying to keep it from rotating. So I cut the one fin off, cut the other one on this side, and split it right here, split it right there, and then just cut it, and then in that slot that I cut, just basically beat it down, and it cracked it since it's cast. So I got the rest of this to do, and hopefully I can get it all undone. I'm gonna go ahead and try to spray some WD-40 or whatever, something like that. And let it sit a little bit, then cut it off, or beat it off, or take it off, or crack it off. But yeah, tough sucker. There you have it. Got it off. Had to do one more split to get it past the half mark, and busted it off with this flat screwdriver. Got it in the slot. So I had to cut the fins off. This is the other part, and then there was another piece, half piece. There it is, behind, right there. So I had to cut a little bit more off, and there you have it. Now 13/16 impeller is going on there, so pretty pumped. Can't wait to see this happen, but we'll have to wait and see for that one. See what else we got to get this nozzle taken off, and I need to bore it. Reduction nozzle. So you need to take that thing, put it on the mill, and bore it over. I think it's like a 74, but I need to measure. I'm gonna open it up probably around 2.5 mils each side. Well, 4 mils total. We'll see. We'll see and go into detail about that later. Hey guys, so here I am measuring the reduction nozzle, after I took it off from boring, and I went to 74, a little over 74. Possibly I still have some more room to take off. And as you can tell, I removed the siphoning tube. These are the tools I use to polish up and blend in this edge where the boring met with the other side. So basically I removed about 4 mils from stock, and this lip right here on this outside, I matched it to the pump because it was a little bit of a step after I ported the pump. Hey guys, so here I am back with this JS300. So I got the new Scat Track 1360 impeller right here. Beautiful little dinker. And hopefully it'll help us produce some extra oomph at the lower end power. So here is my pump housing, and this is where it's going to sit. You can see some rubbing from the aluminum prop. So here we have the regular 13/16. I'm gonna try to see how bad this is wore out, and after testing it out off video, this thing is pretty tight, but once it does go in, it's actually pretty good. There's not much of a gap or anything. As you can tell, it's pretty clean. So I'm gonna run it for now, and then in the future maybe I'll look into changing the pump to something completely different. But for a 300, this should be good enough. If not, I'll try to put this thing on a lathe, make an attachment, and or bore it on a mill and make a steel ring, or like a stainless steel ring, and press it in there. But for now, I think this is good enough. We'll just run this. Yeah, super pumped. So I got this thing sitting on the table. I'm getting my porting tools ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and start porting. As you can tell, this thing is broken right here, but that's fine. We're just gonna send it. And so as you can tell, we got those little imperfections in the mold to clean up, and pretty much each one has one. So all that could get cleaned out. That's a lot of cleaning. That's a lot of material. So it's gonna probably take about a couple hours or so, and then smoothing all the fins out. On the fins, there's this little casting. So all these casting marks, and as you can tell on that, the round part right here, all that has to be cleaned up. So all that will be smoothened out, and hopefully we'll be able to achieve a little bit more cleaner power out of this pump housing thing. So super stoked. Hopefully it'll work out. So let's go. Well guys, so here's the side where I roughed everything out with this tool, and basically you can tell I removed that ridge, and as I'm starting right here, you can tell that ridge right here, I have to completely remove it, and you can tell it on this one that hasn't been touched yet right there. So I gotta remove all that, and then on that side I'm gonna sharpen all the fins up a little bit so it cuts the water a little better, like these fins right here. So I'm gonna blade them up, and yeah, basically I'm gonna bevel them from both sides so that way it cuts through the water better. And yeah, so we'll pick up after we're done and polishing it out and everything. So let's go. So guys, here is my final porting, I guess, pump porting, roughing. Finished it off right there. Now I'm gonna put the sanding wheel on here and go and smooth everything out. Here I'm gonna try to clean everything up, sand everything down, and hopefully everything will be perfect, and then we'll be able to start slapping things on. Well guys, as you can tell, what a mess. So let me explain what I used to blueprint my pump. So I used some of this blaster penetration oil and some two-stroke oil. I'll dip my deburring tool kit. So I use this one right here. This is the one I used most of the time, and the oil would help separate the aluminum from sticking to the deburring. And also with this pad, sanding pad, as you can tell, I had a whole box from Harbor Freight. So there's different grits, and there's a square one in here and different types. Ended up going through a few, and then there was a square one somewhere here, but managed to clean up my pump pretty good, I'd say. I'm pretty pumped, you know. As you can tell, not the best, but you know, I'd say I cleaned out a lot of material, I'd say. I mean, that's plenty of material, just got shot up everywhere right here. But yeah, super pumped. Now we're getting ready to start putting everything back together, and before you know it, this thing's gonna be a solid ripper. Heck yeah, let's go. So guys, here we are back with this JS300, and I got the parts laid out, everything that I'm gonna use to put this whole pump back together. We do need to find the other two shims that I took off from the rear, which are right here. So these are gonna go on the rear, so we'll need those. Scat Track 13/16 prop, and bought it through vintagejetski.com. And yep, everything's set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the prop. Then I'm gonna torque it down to 90 Newton meters, something like that. A few uggas. And so what I'm gonna use some anti-seize a little bit on it, on the front half, and then I'm gonna use some 242 Loctite. It's basically the blue one. So let's start putting this together. We'll go into time-lapse mode, and then we'll just start slapping all this stuff back together. And hopefully we can start putting this bad boy back on the dolly and start slapping in the engine, or see what else we got to do inside there. Anyways, let's get to work. Alrighty guys, as you can tell, the whole pump has been put back together. Everything works good. Impeller's moving nice and good. So that's all good. Everything's bolted back, the nozzle and everything, reduction nozzle, everything's put back together, and everything's been back aligned and the shimmed. So it's all good. So now I got the ride plate, the grate, and then we got some bolts, some new countersink screws, and some stuff for these things. So got all that, stainless steel bolts. But now I want to do is I want to silicone this whole thing right here. So I got this 10-year 40% more flexible silicone, and I want to fill up this cavity right here. As you can tell, there's like a cavity and there's a step, so I need to smoothen it out. Fill up this edge right here, build it up, smoothen it out, and we'll be good to go. And we'll slap that on, and we'll be finished for now. So let's go ahead and start doing that. And guys, just like that, everything's put back together, and as you can tell, it's ready to go. everything's bolted up, Loctited, and all new screws on the ride plates, countersinks, and then just, man, just solid, dude. Tell you what. So I went ahead, and as you can tell, I siliconed that. You can, as you seen in the time lapse. And then I went ahead and sealed this area also, and then I sealed this area where the ride plate goes. So basically, I made a nice smooth transition. I used a little mixing stick, and I smoothened that out. So it's a good transition. I'm thinking about adding actually a washer underneath this ride plate. I mean this grate, and right here. So basically sticking it out a little more, and yeah, basically it'll give it a little bit more traction right here. I guess when you're coming in the turn. But again, that's probably gonna be later on when I'm gonna feel it out and see if I want to adjust that or not. But other than that, I mean, it's good. Look at that thing, just rotating nice and good and smooth. Super stoked. Now I can just rotate this thing, put it back on the dolly, and just call it a day. And yeah, and go over to the other side, front side, top side, whatever you call them, and start dropping in the engine sitting way over there, right there. But for now, it's what it is. And some of you will understand what that is, but I got that coming. Super stoked. I got another piece hidden somewhere over there. It's all the hardware right here. But yeah, super excited to get this thing back on the water and get it to slide around and stuff like that, and test out this whole build. I mean, been doing a lot on this thing. But other than that, guys, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.